Hello vinyl lovers, it's Andrew. I thought I'd show you one or two more records that I managed to get from the charity shops this week. I've had a bit of a dry spell recently. I haven't been able to find any decent records in any of them for months. But I did have a little bit of time yesterday and I decided to pop into my local Salvation Army shop. They're very cheap in there, they're only £7 for £1, so I think they do tend to get picked over very quickly, and I think maybe I've just missed them. But I did go in yesterday and they had one or two new ones. And they had a few 10-inch LPs, which I can never resist. I always like to buy those if I see them. And I managed to get, first one was Showboat from the MGM film. So selections from there on MGM Records, which is very, very nice. And then I got Ethel Merman, songs from Call Me Madam. I've actually got this on a 12-inch LP as well. And it's nice to get sort of a condensed version on a 10-inch. And then I got a classical one, Rodrigo's Guitar Concerto, which is one of my favourite pieces of classical music. Always like to listen to that, and that sounds absolutely great. I played that one and it's in superb condition. And Bing Crosby, Collector's Classics Volume 5, a selection of his older recordings. They do sound very much like they've come from 78s. You know, the recording quality is quite low on there, but it's nice to have that. So that's the four I got from there. They were £7 for £1, but if you buy them individually they're 15p each, so you can't really grumble at that. Then I went round the corner and they're 50p in there, and I think that's the Cancer Research Shop. And I managed to get a record that I've been looking for quite some time. It's Glen Campbell's Basic. It's one of his better later albums. It's one I've been looking for, but you never seem to see it anywhere, so I was very pleased to get that for 50p. And an artist I've never really been too keen on, to be honest, but I was intrigued by this one. This is Melanie. This is actually, I think it must be a reissue from one of their albums from 1968. I've seen it on the internet with a different cover on it. So I think it's possibly a reissue, but it is an American copy. And I've yet to play that yet, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. And another record that I've heard of and is liked by a lot of people is Steve Hackett's Spectral Mornings. It's one of his better solo albums, so I was pleased to get that one. That's an American copy as well. And then also I managed to get this one. This is The Magic of Christmas by Nat King Cole. I see this one all over the place, reissued in various forms. I think it's been reissued about 10 times, but this is actually the original one, which is really, really great. And so it's got all his well-known Christmas songs on there. So that was a really nice find, and that was sort of 50p as well. And then I got a copy of Preludes After the Gold Rush LP. To be honest, that's the only one I know from Prelude, actually. I didn't know anything else by them. It was their big hit. This again is an American copy, and I've yet to play this one as well, so that's another one to look forward to. All of these seem to be very interesting, really. They're either artists I know but don't know any further songs by them, or the ones I've been looking for quite some time, so I think I've done quite well. Another one I've been looking for quite some time, this is the Renaissance album, As You Adore. A little bit later on, one from them. I've got it on a CD, but I always fancied it on album, and it is a really terrific album. And I was really excited to get that one, although that one was £1, but you know, that's really, really worthwhile. Another one for 50p. This is Supertramp. This is their second album, I believe. No, sorry, this is the first album. And it's not really like Supertramp at all. It's very, very progressive in sounding. It was issued, I think it's 1970, so we were still in that sort of progressive era before they developed a sort of more unique style. But that's really great to listen to that one, because I have never heard anything from the earlier period like that. I got another copy of Cliff Richard and the Shadows Summer Holiday. I've got this one already, but mine's a bit rough, so this was a much nicer, cleaner copy, and that's in really, really good condition, the record. And another Supertramp, Crisis What Crisis. This one's actually quite scratched. It does click and pop quite a lot when it's playing. but for 50p, I mean, you couldn't really say no. It's a really, really good album, although it's considered not to be one of their best, but I like every track on it. I think it's really a great album. I've got that on CD as well, but again, it's nice to have a vinyl copy, although the cover's in good condition, but the record is a little bit iffy. And I got Simple Minds, New Gold Dream. I've never been really a big fan of Simple Minds, but I have got one or two of their albums just recently, and I'm really getting into it. So it's nice to hear more things from well-known groups, but which I've never really had any albums by them. So it's nice to hear sort of new things from them, and I'm really liking that. And I got a copy of Pet Shop Boys actually, which is excellent really. I'm not a massive fan of the Pet Shop Boys, but I have got one or two of their things. I sort of like the earlier things more than the later. And this one's got things like It's a Sin on it, Heart is on there as well, and What Have I Done to Deserve This, which I think is probably my favourite one of theirs. Again, that's an American copy. There's a lot of American records seem to be around at the moment. Then I went to a new charity shop that's just opened next door to the local tip. I think it's so that people can either take things to the tip or take things to the charity shop at the same time, which is quite a good idea really. And I went in there and there was boxes and boxes and boxes of records, and I flicked through them and there was just rubbish in them. There was loads and loads of usual things like the Furies and Chaz and Dave and Bernard Manning and all things like that. And then there was a lot of classical records, and I do like classical music, but to be honest with you, I got far too much of that, so I didn't really fancy any of those. But then just in amongst these things, I did come across one or two really good ones. And the first one was Barbra Streisand's copy of People, which I like Barbra Streisand. I'm not a huge fan, but her early things I think are really great. They have a lot of energy to them, and this one is really, really nice. I really played this one. I really like it. It's got some really sort of, she's got like a sort of a comic feel to her voice on this one. I mean, she must have been quite young. It was issued in 1964. So she was still quite young there, and it really shows in her voice. And then she can, next track can be really, really soft and gentle as well. So great album, really pleased about that one. One that I've seen many times in the shops, but never bothered to buy it really, is the soundtrack to Love Story, composed by Francis Lai, L-A-I. Again, there was nothing really for me to want to buy it. There was nothing that really attracted me to it, but it was there, and I thought, oh, it's in nice condition, I'll get it this time. And I've played it through, and basically it's just themes from the sort of just varying themes from the Love Story theme, so you can sort of hear that theme in every track really. And but it's not bad actually. It's not bad to put on when you're perhaps working and it can be playing in the background. Harry James is somebody I knew the name, but didn't really know anything about. And this was nice. This is an original Capitol record of More Harry James in Hi-Fi, it's called. And I've played that through as well. It turns out to be a very, very competent trumpeter. And it's really, really good. Very, very dated. But it sounds really, really great. Got a copy of the Bee Gees, Children of the World. I've got this one on CD as well. It's a really good album actually. It's just before they got into the disco-y era. It was just emerging in here. It's a little bit more soulful. There's some great tracks on there. Children of the World particularly is a good track on that. Then this is an interesting one that I saw. It's called Bob and Ray Throw a Stereo Spectacular. And it just intrigued me. I like the artwork on the front, and I really didn't know what it was. It says with Julie Andrews, the Belafonte Singers, Skitch Anderson, Lena Horne, etc., etc. And really, I think it was a demonstration record for when stereo first came out. So really good. So it's like little sketches where Bob and Ray, by the way, was sort of a double act, comedian double act in America, and there's little sketches where they sort of in a laboratory, and it's really just to demonstrate how stereo works, so things are sort of going from one speaker to another, and then you have sort of snatchings of music and things like that. So I think it was really to demonstrate what stereo was all about. So that's a nice find. I've got this one, Johnny's Greatest Hits. I've actually got the first album. This is more Johnny's Greatest Hits, and again I think his early things are really, really great. I love that sort of that very young sound that he has, and he got some really, really good tracks on there. A Certain Smile is probably the biggest hit on there, but all of them are really, really great. Bryan Adams, I've got Cuts Like a Knife. Not been a great fan of Bryan Adams really, but it's nice to hear his earlier things. I've sort of looked on the internet, and Cuts by a Knife is considered to be his best album, so I'm looking forward to hearing that one. And then this one, You Want It, You Got It, that's the second album from him. He looks very young on the front there. And it said that, according to the internet, it says that he's sort of developing his style on this one, so I'll be interested to hear what that one's like. This one was interesting as well. I've never seen this one before. This is Johnny Cash and the Tennessee Three. One Piece at a Time it's called. This was issued in 1973. I played a couple of tracks on there, and his voice is absolutely perfect on this. He's really at the top of his game at this point. He's made some great albums over the years, and seems as though it's going to be another one. Not a big fan of Stevie Wonder, to be honest, but it was there. And this one's called Characters. It's not considered to be one of his best albums. They tend to be a little bit too poppy. But I've got to play this one yet, so I'll be interested to see what that one's like. Another Supertramp one, Paris, this one's called. It's a double album. This one is sounds fantastic. I just played a little bit of it, and it sounds really full. The sound sounds really great, so I'm looking forward to hearing that one. I threw this one in for good measure, really. The Sweets Biggest Hits, it's called. It's actually issued in 1972, so it hasn't got Blockbuster and Ballroom Blitz and all that lot on it. It's just got the early things like Wigwam Bam, Papa Joe, Funny Funny Coco, Little Willie, which I actually don't think are the best songs from them. But it's also got quite a few tracks that I've never heard of, like Chop Chop, Alexander Graham Bell, Genie, Spotlight. So I'll be interested to hear what they're like. I like John Renbourn. I'd never seen this album before. This is The Black Balloon, it's called. It's not in tremendous condition. It's an ex-library copy, and it does crackle quite a lot the way through it, but it is really, really nice. It's probably the nicest one I've got. I've got quite a few on CD, but this is a really great one. So I'd like to try and get a better copy of that if I could, or perhaps buy it on CD. There was this one by Molly Hatchet. Don't really know anything about them. They're sort of a rock band from America in the early 80s. Good artwork on there, but I'll throw that one in to see what that one's like. And then I got some really great ones. I got The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie, which, you know, I just didn't expect it to be there, and it was just there, and I thought, oh, how come this one's evaded being bought before now? But there it was, so I managed to get that. And then one that I'm really pleased to get, and this is Ringo Starr, Ringo, from 1973. I had this years and years ago on an LP, and for some reason I sold it and bought it on cassette. I think I'd got a new cassette player, and I sort of wanted cassettes to play on it. But of course that perished quite a few years ago, and I've been looking for a copy for this for ages. And there it was. I couldn't believe it was there, and it's in absolute mint condition, which is absolutely great. So I was really pleased to get that one. And the last one I got from the shop near the tip was Ricky Lee Jones's self-titled album, which it's got Chucky's In Love on it, which I think most people know. I think she's a little bit hard to get into, really. She's got a very unique style, but I'll persevere with that one and see what I think of it. Now, just going back to that one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got 13 albums from that shop, And I went to the lady, I said, how much do you records? And she says, how many have you got? I said, I've got 13. She says, oh, a couple of pound. So I got the 13 albums for £2, which isn't bad to say that I got a record that I've been looking for absolutely ages in there. So all in all, absolutely brilliant this week as far as record collecting is concerned. So I hope my luck continues, but we'll have to see, won't we? Right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.